Hey everyone, my name is Riley, and this video is a complete Microsoft To Do tutorial for beginners. I will take you through everything that you need to know inside of Microsoft To Do, from creating your tasks, organizing your tasks into different groups and sections. I will also show you how you can set up reminders, how you can set due dates for your task, how you can navigate the dashboard and what all of these different sections mean, and most importantly, how you can bring all of this together to have a super simple yet effective to-do list using Microsoft To Do. To access Microsoft To Do, we essentially have two different options. The first is if you want to use the web version of Microsoft To Do. As you can see, this is what I have on my screen. And to access this, all we have to do is open a new tab, no matter which browser you are in, and we can Google search for Microsoft To Do. So we search for that, and then we can click into Microsoft To Do right here. And this is going to take us over to this page of Microsoft To Do. So from here, we just click on Get Started, and then you can sign in with your Microsoft account. If you do not yet have one, then just click on Use Another Account, and then you can click on Create an Account. And right here, you can go through and create your Microsoft account. But I'm just going to go through and use an account that I already have. So we just sign in, and just like that, we now have access to Microsoft To Do. So that is the first option. However, I prefer to download the Microsoft To Do app. And that way it saves me from having to come in here and bookmarking the tab and going through the internet every time. Whereas I prefer to download the app so we can just boot the app straight up from our desktop. To download the app, we just want to open a new tab and search for Microsoft To Do download. And then once again, we can click on the top option right here. Then once we load in, we can see download app. So we just click on this, and then we can go through and download the Microsoft To Do app right here. Now, as you can see, I am on Mac. So no matter if you are on Mac or Windows, or if you are on Android or iPhone, you will be able to download the Microsoft To Do app. So let's go ahead and get the app right here. And then once the app is installed, we can find Microsoft To Do on our desktop and go ahead and open it up. Now, the first thing that it's going to ask is to sign in with your Microsoft account. So let's go ahead and enter in the email. Then we can click on sign in. And just like that, we now have access to Microsoft To Do. So let's go ahead and make this full screen. And then once we have the app and we are signed in, it's very simple. Now, all we have to do is, if we have all of these apps closed down, we'll close this down as well. Every morning, I want to come in and check my task list. All I then have to do is search for Microsoft To Do. We can then go ahead and open that up. And as you can see, I'm logged in, my dashboard is right there, and we can get straight into using Microsoft To Do. So this right here is Microsoft To Do. Down the side, we can see all of these different categories that we can filter notes into, starting off with my day. So this is everything that we need to do today. We then have important for important tasks, planned tasks for the future, any tasks that are assigned to me. We then have flagged email. So if you are using Outlook Mail, then we can integrate Outlook Mail, and any mail that you flag, you can bring straight into To Do. And then down here, we have tasks. And essentially, this is just going to show tasks that aren't in any of these other lists. So this is almost like a miscellaneous category. We can also create new lists in the bottom left corner right here. And this is going to help with some extra organization. So what I mean by this is, if we were just to come along and start typing out some tasks in this task section. So to actually create tasks, all we do is we go to add a task at the bottom, click into this, and then we just go ahead and type out the task. So we don't add dates or when this is due or any other information for now. We just start typing out the task. So I might say I need to walk the dog. And then to actually submit the task, we just click on the enter key. And as you can see, that task is now submitted. So let's say walk the dog, record Microsoft To Do video, and let's say read for 30 minutes, go to the gym, sales call with John. And as you can see already, these tasks are starting to add up. Now, this is only when I have 5 tasks. And imagine you have like hundreds and hundreds of tasks that you have just brain dumped into here. This is not really the best for organization, right? So this is where we would want to go down here into new list. And we can create some lists to categorize the tasks that we have. So I might create a new list right here. And as you can see, on the left-hand side, it's going to create this list. At the top, we can then create a title for this. So let's say that this list is for work. We can then enter that in, and that list is now going to be created. So I'll go for a new list once again, and this time we can say, let's say this is leisure, enter that in, and we now have work and leisure. And then maybe we are also renovating a house, so we can go to new list, and we could maybe just title this house. So now down the left-hand side, not only do we have all of these categories that we will touch on later, but we now have our own personalized categories. So if you did go into tasks and we just brain dumped here, then what we can do is just start dragging these across. So sales call with John, we just click and drag this into work. Then go to the gym, we can say that this is leisure. Then read for 30 minutes, we can say it's leisure. Record Microsoft To Do video is work. And then sometimes you will get this where the tasks kind of disappear. So all we need to do is just click away and click back in. And there we go, we have this back. I'm not sure why Microsoft To Do does this, but it's just something that happens. So then walk the dog, we can drop into leisure as well. As you can see, that's a lot cleaner. So we can now click into work, we can click into leisure, and we can see what we have to do in each of these categories. Much better for organization, right? But we can also take this to the next level, and we can add categories within categories. So if I go to leisure, for example, I can see that maybe I have walk the dog in here, and then let's add a new task into leisure. So the way that we add tasks into these lists is we would select leisure, and now if I add a task, it's going to add this specifically into leisure. So I could maybe say, take dog to the vet, buy dog food. So what I can now do is if I want to create a list within a list, so I have leisure, and then maybe I want to create a subcategory for all of the tasks that I have relating to my dog. So we can go into new list. And once again, it's going to show up on the left-hand side. Let's just call this dog. And then all we would do is we would need to change the name of this, but we just drag dog into leisure. And as you can see, that's now going to create a group. So we can go in and we can see under this group is leisure and dog. So instead, I actually want to right click on the group and we can rename the group instead to leisure. And then for the leisure section, maybe if I'm looking at this, if this is gym and read, maybe we could title this instead of leisure to self-improvement, just like that. And then all we would now do is drag the dog items, the dog tasks, into the dog section. So we go back in, walk the dog into the dog section. And now we have this group of leisure. We can click into the group and then we can see all of the subcategories within that group and then all of the tasks within that subcategory. So that is how we can organize Microsoft To Do using groups and lists. Once again, we could do the exact same thing for work. So I'll just go to create a new list. And for this new list, we can call this like YouTube. Drag these together, so work and YouTube. And that's going to create the group. So let's go into the group and rename this. And instead this time we will call the group work. And then for work, we can maybe retitle this to sales calls, just like that. And then Microsoft To Do video, I will drag into YouTube. So we now have these two different groups for work and leisure. We can click into the categories within them, and then see the tasks. Now, let's see what else we can do with tasks, because so far, we haven't really been able to do much with them. All we've been able to do is type out a task right here. So for example, I might say record Loom tutorial, just like that. But we have no dates on them, we have no order of importance, and all we can do so far is categorize them into these different sections. Well, that's where this changes, because what we can do once we actually have the task added in is we can click on the task right here, and as you can see on this right hand side, it's going to open up this panel where we can now go in and start adding more information to this task. The first thing that we can do right at the top is add a step. And instead of steps, I would prefer to call these subcategories. Because what we can do in steps is we can tell people, or even tell yourself, step by step, exactly what needs to be done to complete this task. So in this example, we are recording a Loom tutorial. So let's click on add step. And in here, we can start adding in some steps that we would need to complete this task. So the first thing might be set up camera and mic. Then we can click on enter and go into the next step. So we could say maybe script video, record video, edit video, and upload video. And just like that, we now have all of these steps or subtasks added. So if we just click out, you can see that in record Loom tutorial, the one that I just set this up for, we currently have 0 of these 5 subtasks completed. So we can then click in and we can come along and we can say, okay, we've done this. We can start checking these off. And then once all of these are done, we can just check off the task right there. And as you can see, this task is now completed. So let's just go and uncheck that, and we can remove all of these steps right here. So if you do want to remove steps, we can just click in, go to these 3 dots, and we can say delete step. Just go through and delete all of these right here. And then the next option down is going to be adding this to my day. So the way that I prefer to use Microsoft To Do is I will set out a certain amount of time where I will go ahead and I will plan my tasks and I will do all of this that I just showed you. But day to day, I just want to come along on a morning, go into my day, and I just want to easily see all of the tasks that I have to complete. So I don't even have to think about it. I come in here, I see what tasks I have to complete, and then it's done. I just go ahead and complete those tasks. So what we can do is we can go to one of these right here. We just click on the task, click on add to my day, and it's still going to show up under the category that you set this to. So this is still going to show up under YouTube. But if we now go to my day, you can see that task is now going to be added. So let's say that today I need to record my Loom tutorial, and let's go to walk the dog. We can also set this to the day. Let's also buy some dog food. We can add that there. And now my day is complete. So I come along here on a morning, I can see the tasks that I have to do, and we can also rearrange them. So let's say that first of all, I want to walk the dog. Let's move that to the top. Then we can record the Loom tutorial. And then the final task is going to be buy dog food. Perfect. So we now have my day set up. Then I can come along here as we go throughout the day. So they are checked off right there. And now if I go to YouTube, for example, you can see that under the category, the video is also going to be checked off as completed. We can also go in and add it today. We can click on this X icon to remove it right here. And then the next option down is going to be remind me. So if we click on remind me, we can set a reminder of when we want Microsoft to remind us of this task. We can either set this to later today, we can set this to tomorrow, we can set this to next week at these specific times, or we can go in and choose a specific date and time that we want to be reminded. So let's say this is tomorrow. I can choose tomorrow's date, and then we can set the time right here. So let's set this to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, just like that. And then we can click on save right there. And as you can see, this reminder is going to be for tomorrow. Now, if you just have this on your computer, then it will give you a notification as the reminder. But if you have the Microsoft To Do app on your phone and you are logged into the same account that we are using right here, then what it will do is it will actually send a notification to your phone. So that is pretty cool as well. On top of this, now that we have a time set, you will notice that planned is now going to have a 1 next to it because this is now going to show up in planned. So as soon as we set a reminder, or also the next option down, which is going to be a due date, as soon as we set a reminder or a due date, the task is then going to also show up in planned. So I'll also show you this with self-improvement. Let's say read for 30 minutes. Let's set a due date for today. And then because we set this to today, it's going to show up in planned right here. So read for 30 minutes is due today. And because we set this to today, it's also going to show up in my day. So anything you do set to today will show up in my day, of course. And let's say take the dog to the vets. If we set a due date for tomorrow as an example, then it's of course going to show up in planned like all of the others, but it's not going to show up in my day today. Because the task is set tomorrow, automatically, as soon as tomorrow rolls around, then I would just go into my day and that task is going to be listed right there. So the due date for all of these, when the day actually rolls around, for example, this one on Tuesday, the 30th of July, this is going to show up on my day on that date. So if we just go back in, that is remind and do. Then repeat is if you have any repeating tasks. So let's say, for example, that I want to go to the gym every day. So let's first of all set a due date right here. Let's set this to today. Then we can go down and click on repeat, and we can choose how often we want this to repeat. So we can maybe say that this is daily right here. And then you can see we are going to get a little icon that shows this is recurring daily. And because I set this to a daily occurrence, then every single day, this is going to show up in my day, and I need to make sure I get that done. Alternatively, we could go ahead and maybe set this to weekly. And then as you can see, it says weekly on Monday by default, because today's date is Monday. So what it would do is it would just say today's date's Monday. If you want this weekly, it's just going to put that event for weekly on the day that you chose. But let's say instead we want to go for like a Thursday. We could go customize, repeat every 1 week on a Thursday instead. And now you can see this is repeating on a Thursday. So every Thursday, this is going to show up on my day. Then finally, if we just come back in, we have add file. So for any of these tasks, if you want to add like an image or a video or something that you would need to do this task, for example, record Microsoft To Do, I might go in here and if I had a thumbnail, I would just drop the thumbnail in. Let's just use this one, for example. As you can see, this file is now going to become attached. And then all I would have to do is click in and I can get access to that file. So in my opinion, it's not the most useful feature. Like I don't use this very often, but it's there. And then the final option that we have when we are managing and clicking into these tasks is going to be add note. So we just go in and we can add a note right here. We can just say like, make sure this is recorded, drop that note in there. And then whenever we click on this, we will be able to see that note. So with that out of the way, we already know how my day works. We can either go in here and we can specifically set this to my day, or when we set the due date, it's going to figure out when the due date is. And automatically, we are just going to see that task on my day, on the day that it is due. So we understand my day. Now, important, we haven't got anything in important yet, but this is very easy to do. For any important tasks that you want to add to this important category, we can just go into the task and then click on this star icon on the right hand side of each task. So I just added these YouTube tasks right here to important, and as you can see, they are now going to show up. Once again, in any of these categories, we can just click through, check off those tasks, and those tasks will be moved to completed in the folders that we created. You might also find, and this is something that I found, is the completed category can get very, very cluttered. So if you imagine, if I've been using this for like 5 weeks and I've been completing tasks every day, then I will just have pages and pages of completed. So what you might want to do after you have completed a task, I usually do this on a weekly basis, is I will just come in here and I will just delete the task. So because this is completed, I don't need to do it anymore. There's really no use for it on Microsoft To Do. So I can just click in, click on this trash can icon in this bottom right hand corner, and then delete this task, and that task will now be deleted. So I make sure the task is complete, and then we can come in here, and then we can delete this, and make sure that the dashboard is not cluttered. So that is how we can use important. We can then go down to planned, and as you can see, this is just going to show us anything that we have a due date on, or anything that we have a reminder on. But up at the top here, we can filter these as well. So you might notice as you go throughout and you start adding tasks in and adding due dates and adding reminders that this starts to get pretty cluttered. Well, what we can do is we can go into these categories at the top and we can filter by what we are looking for. So as an example, I can click on today and this is only going to show me my planned tasks for today. If I go tomorrow, I can see I have one planned task for tomorrow. If I go this week, these are all of the planned tasks that I have this week. And then later is going to show me anything after this week. So you can just come along and kind of filter these down by using these top sections and find exactly what you are looking for. Now down here, we then have flagged email. So what we can do is if we are signed into the same account that we use for Outlook as we are with Microsoft To Do, then we can actually flag any emails that we get and they will show up right here. So let me show you an example. So right here, I am now signed in to my Outlook account. And let's just say, for example, that this is an important email. It's not actually an important email, but just as an example, what I can do is add a flag to it, and then it's going to be added to my flagged email. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. I'm in the same Outlook account. I find the email that I want to drag into the to-do list, and then I can go here, and then we can flag. So we can either flag this with today, we can flag this as tomorrow. Let's say that this email is due next week. I need to respond to it. So we can add this one right there. And then let's also go down and click on this one and say that this one is due tomorrow. So we now have 2 flagged emails. Then we can go back over here into to do. And as you can see, these emails are going to pop up. So these are my flagged emails. And I can see the email right here. I can see when this is due. And because this is due today, it's going to be added to my day automatically. So we can see today out of office, we can see what this is, flagged email. So let's just click back in and we can click on today. And then this is where the notes is going to be very helpful. So I could go in and just say reply to this email, and maybe this is an invoice and pay invoice. Just like that, I can add that in. And now, maybe this would not be relevant for today because I obviously wouldn't forget. But let's say this email is a few weeks in advance and I just need to reply to it. Then I could add the note. And then when the day actually comes and I'm like, why did I flag that email? Well, what I can do is click in right here. And then I can see the note and be like, oh, okay, I need to reply to this and I need to pay the invoice. Perfect. So I just do exactly what it says, check that off, and perfect. That task is now complete. One other thing that I did forget to mention is up here, we have these 3 dots and we have a few options. So in these options, we can either just delete the list. If I wanted to delete sales calls, we could hide completed tasks. So if you do want to do this instead of deleting them, I still prefer to delete them just to get rid of them. There's no real use. But let's find one where we actually have some completed tasks. Let's just complete this. We can go up, hide completed tasks, and then the completed tasks will be hidden. Then if we check one off, that will be hidden as well. But we can go back in and we can show completed tasks and they will show back up. If you were wondering, by the way, why that showed straight back up, if I go hide completed and I check this off, and you'll see it comes back. The reason for this is because I set this up as a recurring task. So because this is repeating, if I check this off, it's just going to come back because I have to do this every day. And it's not a task that I can complete forever as such. We then have print list. If you want to print this, we can duplicate the list if you want to duplicate all of the items in here. Then we can go in and we also have change theme. So I really like this. So change theme, what we can do is we can choose a theme that this is going to be based on. So as you can see right now, this is kind of like a blue color, but I can change this. And as you can see, the theme is going to change right there. So those are colors. We can just click around and change these. Or we can go for these images. And as you can see, if I choose an image, that's going to show up as the background. So for self-improvement, let's have a look which would be best for this. Maybe something like this. Then we can go into my day right here and we could set my day. We could go up, change theme and choose one of these. So for my day, maybe we can have this. And you can basically go in and change the theme for all of these different groups that you have. We just go up, change theme, select the one that you want, and then we can add that in right there. We also have a few other options like sort. So we can sort these by importance. Any that are starred will show up at the top. We can sort these tasks alphabetically by the due date, the creation date, added to my day, any of these options. And then the final thing that I want to show you is how we can filter these lists right here and remove some of them, add them in if you want to. So we just go preferences, then lists, and then you can choose which ones you want to show and which you want to remove. So we could maybe remove important, and that will remove the important list. We can remove planned, assigned to me, if you want to remove any. We can also turn on completed. So now that is on, if we go into completed, we can see all of the completed tasks that we have done. And then we can go back in, we can choose all right here. And if you want this all category, we can turn this on as well. But I prefer to leave this off. But you can go in, you can mix and match these if you like. And that's how we can set those all up right there. Under general, we can go in, you can choose if you want new tasks to be added to the top or the bottom. I do prefer them to be added to the top. You can choose if this play completion sound is on, confirm before deleting. So for example, if I just go and check one of these, you can turn that off. You can choose if you want this confirmation before you delete something. You can turn that off as well. But basically, that is everything that you need to know in order to use Microsoft To Do. So that is how you can use Microsoft To Do. If you found this video valuable, don't forget to smash that like button and tap that subscribe button. And until next time, take it easy.